Today's video is about maintaining the Highline 400 here by Aquascape. I've had this tank for a few years now. I absolutely love it. It's one of the longest periods I've kept a tank, and it's my favourite tank that I've ever kept. One of the biggest as well. There is a Highline 600 which I think would fit just nicely. On that note, grateful to all my sponsors for enabling much of what you see around you with the beautiful aquariums and the way they've been incorporated into the living space. It's a real joy to live with, but we do need to maintain them in order to maintain the benefits of living within a beautiful environment. We have to maintain that, don't we? Otherwise, what happens? You end up with chaos, you end up with too much algae, poorly fish, poorly water quality, dying plants. If we don't maintain, we kind of get what we deserve, really. And it's not victim shaming. If you don't look after anything yourself, which is what maintenance is, you've only got yourself to blame, really. It's a hard truth, but it is what it is. So we're going to maintain this Highline 400, 108 US gallons. But what I do before I consider any kind of aesthetic impact on the Aquascape is to sit in front of it, meditate literally, for a good 5 minutes or so, and just take the whole Aquascape in naturally, without thinking, hopefully. And you get a clear picture of what you're really seeing. And then you can, using visualization, how is it looking right now compared to with how do you think it could look better in the future? And then making any changes accordingly. So a good example would be this leaf here is too dominant right now, and it's going to get even more dominant, so I'm going to remove that completely. That will allow new smaller leaves to grow, and time will tell if it looks better than what it does now, but that's only going to look, in my mind, even more, it's going to detract from the overall balance of the Aquascape, so I'm going to remove this leaf now. And I can identify that almost instantly because I just allow myself to consume the whole Aquascape in one go almost, and then just like bang, my attention is drawn straight to here for the wrong reason. You can see the Amazon sword there, the red, I think that's the red diamond or the red flame. I never remember which one's which. If you can tell me in the comments, I'll be grateful. That is looking really beautiful, that leaf in the centre there. It's almost iridescent, almost glowing red, bright scarlet red, absolutely beautiful. I think I'm going to leave that there. They're going to leave that sword. It's pretty much the only Echinodoros left in there now. The crypts have taken over either naturally or by me removing some of the Echinodoros to allow the crypts to grow into the space. Looking at the kind of mid-Garan crypts here, there are a few that are getting really tall, so I just immediately see the tallest leaf there. That would get removed, the next tallest and the next tallest, and then of course remove any damaged leaves, because the plant is using so much energy trying to repair that damage rather than growing a new leaf, which would be much more efficient, because it's never really going to repair itself. And we like, you know, this is a lot of it is about aesthetics, so we want to remove anything that doesn't look healthy. So I just have a little sort of, you know, wander around the aquarium, look at it from all angles, and just have a think about what I want to achieve either now or in the medium or the long term. That's the joy of keeping a long-term scape. You know, these are the sorts of things that I don't really often get to do. This is one of the longest I've been running an Aquascape for a while, so it's really, really great to see it evolve. And it's really great to share it with you guys as well. Again, I apologise for any barking that you may hear in the background. The back doors are completely wide open, as it's such a warm day. So first thing I like to do, take the lid off of course, and then give the glass a really good clean. Before I clean the glass, often just remove, you know, a good sort of 10, 15 gallons, 40, 30 litres or so of water to ensure that you don't spill any water over the dry weir or the side. Clean the glass. Whilst I'm cleaning the glass, I'm siphoning the water into the garden, and it's a great time of year for that. We've got lots of sunshine today, so water any plants that need watering, water the lawn, water the house plants as well. We've got quite a few house plants now. We don't want to waste water unless we have to, of course. So water's being changed, and then what I also like to do is just give the plants a really good feel. Just touch them all. Just don't be shy. Get your hands amongst the leaves. Don't be too brutal. You know, kind of caress them, stroke them, and kind of comb them with your fingers. It's just a really lovely feeling. You really connect with these plants, and as you're doing that, you can normally see a combination of things happening. Often there's oxygen bubbles. This is a really beautiful thing. You're touching pure oxygen that's been created by the plants that are within your care, and it's a lovely thing. So you see the oxygen shooting to the surface, and then that, as it hits the surface, it then reaches the atmosphere, and then you're breathing in that oxygen. So we really are connecting, you know, with this aquascape in more ways than one. There's the obvious thing of touching it and seeing it, but we're breathing it effectively. We're breathing what these plants are creating for us. Another thing that happens, as well as the oxygen production, is that we're lifting the detritus and any kind of loose organic matter that may have settled on the leaves. That lifts it into the water column. We've probably still got the filters running at this point, so the water's circulating around the aquarium, and then those two powerful Aquascape Biomass 850 thermo external canister filters are sucking in that floating organic matter, or simultaneously it's also getting siphoned into the garden and watering the plants. And some of the plants include tomatoes, which we eat, and we've got chili plants as well now. So we're consuming, eating, in essence, something that's been created in this aquarium. You know, the fish waste, the organic waste, siphoning into the garden, feeding the plants then feed us, and the whole cycle repeats itself. We maintain the aquarium to ensure that cycle continues, and therefore we have this intrinsic link with our beautiful aquascapes in a very symbiotic fashion, I would suggest. So yeah, maybe think about that next time you're maintaining your aquarium. Maybe how can you incorporate it more with your lifestyle? Can you use the wastewater to feed your houseplants if you haven't thought of that yet? Or can you meditate using your aquarium? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about just sitting in front of your aquarium and just trying to not focus on anything else apart from the aquarium and maybe your breath? You know, this is a really great practice. I really do recommend it if you haven't tried it yet. Where were we up to? Oh, touching the plants, the oxygen, the detritus, removing all of that. And then I'll probably focus on the foreground area here, kind of really pressing down almost on the anubias. It's quite spongy, it's quite a nice feeling. And then that again lifts up the waste, and you can siphon that out directly. And again, that goes into the garden. Some really interesting Anubias species in here. This is Anubias needleleaf. I don't think it's been released by Tropica at the moment, but I have a sample here, which is really cool. And the good old Anubias mini-coin as well, which I love. And basically, the rest of it is Anubias petite. The Eliocarolon Vietnam is just about holding on to life. I think it looks quite cool, sort of wedged between those little rocks. Yeah. So the water change is now finished, and we fill up with fresh water direct from my garden. I'm lucky that the water temperature is not too dissimilar to here, so that temperature differential is not going to harm the fish. A slight drop of temperature is fine. It can actually induce spawning behaviour in some species. More oxygen as well in that fresh water, so the fish are generally quite active. If the temperature's much lower, The fish tend to become more lethargic and actually become more prone to disease as well, so do be careful. So we've changed the water. Whilst the water's filling, I'll be cleaning the Biomaster pre-filters. Doesn't take too long at all. Using the coarse sponge to maintain as much flow as I can. Finally, I add some Fritz 360 bacteria supplements. This helps to break down waste organics and maintain water quality. So big fan of this product. Check out the link in the description. Last but not least, we clean the aquarium glass with the Fritz aquarium glass and acrylic cleaner, completely non-toxic. Leaves behind a tiny micro coating to repel water and make future cleaning much easier. It's just a great product. Been using this for years now, and it's my absolute go-to glass cleaning product. Completely aquarium safe, no ammonia, streak free. Check it out again, link in the description. So there's the Aquascape Highline 400 fully maintained. An absolute joy to live with, the kind of centerpiece to the home in terms of the aquarium displays. Excited for the future of this Aquascape, potentially more aquariums, maybe a 600 to replace this one and give this one away. Who knows? The future's bright. The future is Scape Farms. Take care. See you in the next video. Cheerio.